You were never meant to fit. Not in their circles, not in their conversations, not in their version of what life is supposed to look like. And deep down, you always knew it. There was always something different about you. Something that made people uncomfortable without you even trying. Something that made rooms go quiet when you walked in. Something that made certain people pull away from you. Not because you were wrong, but because you were operating on a frequency they couldn't tune into. You thought it was a curse. You called it loneliness. You called it rejection. You called it being too much or not enough or simply broken in ways no one could explain. But what if I told you? What if I told you that God Himself has been confirming something about you this entire time and you've been interpreting the signs backwards? The isolation wasn't punishment. The confusion wasn't a flaw. The fact that you could never fully belong to their world, that was the confirmation. You are not operating on their level. You were never supposed to. You were built for something so far beyond what most people can perceive that your very existence makes the ordinary uncomfortable. This is not motivation talk. This is not a feel-good video. This is a message that was pulled from the spiritual realm and placed specifically in front of your eyes today because you are finally ready to understand what you were chosen for. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never see yourself the same way again. If this message found you at the right time, drop the word chosen in the comments right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it before this video ends, because what's coming will shift something deep inside you. Part 1. The weight you carry is not random. You carry something heavy. Not the weight of failure, not the weight of mistakes, something older than that, something that has been sitting on your chest since childhood, a knowing you couldn't explain to anyone, a pressure that never fully lifted, a sense that you were made for something massive but had no map to get there. You've been tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. You've been searching in a way that no answer fully satisfies. That weight is not a burden. That weight is assignment. God does not hand ordinary people extraordinary pressure. He does not allow ordinary souls to feel the pull of a destiny that most people cannot even imagine. The fact that you have felt crushed by something invisible, something no one around you seemed to feel, is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It is evidence that something massive has been placed inside you. Think about it. Iron is forged in fire. Gold is purified under pressure. Diamonds are created in the deepest, darkest parts of the earth. The most valuable things in existence are the things that were shaped through the most intense process. And you have been in that process. Every betrayal, every sleepless night, every moment you sat alone and wondered why your life felt so different from everyone around you. That was not God abandoning you. That was God building you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are in the forge. And the chosen ones, the real ones, the ones who were pulled aside before birth and marked for something beyond ordinary, they are always the ones who go through what no one else goes through, because they are being prepared for what no one else can carry. The people around you got comfortable. They chose the easy path. They stopped asking the deep questions. They stopped feeling the pull. But you couldn't stop. God knows you tried, but something in you refuses to settle. That refusal is your divine signature, and God has been watching it the entire time.
Part 2. Why they cannot understand you. You stopped explaining yourself, didn't you? At some point, you realized that no matter how carefully you found the words, they still didn't get it. You would share your vision, and they would stare blankly. You would talk about what you felt called to do, and they would offer you practical concerns, safe options, smaller dreams. You would describe what was happening in your spirit, and they would change the subject. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't even ignorance. It was incompatibility. Oil and water do not mix, not because one is evil, but because they are fundamentally different in nature. And what God has placed inside you, the frequency you are operating on, is simply incompatible with where most people are living. They are watching the movie in standard definition. You are experiencing something in a dimension they don't have access to yet. This is why they call you too sensitive, too deep, too intense, too much. This is why they question your choices, doubt your direction, and sometimes look at you like you belong to a different species entirely. You do not belong to their frequency. You belong to a higher one. And here is what God confirmed, not once, but repeatedly, through every closed door, every painful season, every moment of divine isolation. The people who cannot understand your level are not your people. They were never meant to be. God separates the chosen ones intentionally, deliberately, because the mission requires clarity. The mission requires that you stop shrinking yourself to fit spaces that were never designed for your expansion. Every person who walked away from you, every friendship that dissolved without explanation, every room where you felt like the outsider, those were not losses. Those were redirections. God was clearing the path, removing the distractions, eliminating the noise, because you could not hear divine instruction when you were surrounded by voices operating on a completely different signal. The loneliness was the purification, and you are coming out of it clarified, more yourself than you have ever been, more aligned than you have ever been, and finally ready to walk in the level you were built for. Part 3. The signs God has been sending you. You have been receiving confirmation this entire time. You just didn't recognize it as confirmation. You called it coincidence. You called it luck. You called it a strange feeling you couldn't quite name. But the signs have been there, consistent, intentional, unmistakable, speaking a language directly to your spirit. The dreams that felt more real than waking life. The moments of sudden clarity that hit you out of nowhere. The times you knew something before it happened and no one could explain how you knew. The strangers who looked at you and said, "There's something different about you." The moments when you felt a presence so close and made your breath catch. Those were not random. Those were God saying, "I see you. I know exactly what I put inside you. Keep going." The chosen ones have always been marked by an interior life that most people cannot access. They feel things at a depth that others cannot reach. They perceive things at a frequency that others cannot tune into. They carry a knowing, a deep, unshakable inner knowing that what they are living is not the end of the story. You have that knowing, even in your worst moments, even when you doubted everything, even when you couldn't see the next step. There was something in you that refused to believe the story was over. That refusal is prophetic. God plants that kind of unshakable knowing only in the people He has marked for something extraordinary. Ordinary people settle when it gets hard. They accept the first version of their life and call it enough. But you couldn't. Something kept rising in you. Something kept pushing back against the idea that this small, this ordinary, this painful was all there was. That something is your assignment speaking. That something is God confirming through your own internal wiring that you were built for a level that hasn't fully manifested yet. The best part of your story hasn't been written, and God is holding the pen.
Part 4. What it means to walk in your level now. This is the part where everything shifts, because receiving the confirmation is one thing, walking in it is another. Too many chosen ones spend their lives waiting to feel ready, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to look them in the eye and say, "Yes, it's time. You are enough. Walk forward." But that moment rarely comes from the outside. It comes from within. It comes the morning you decide to stop apologizing for the size of your vision. It comes the day you stop performing smallness to make others comfortable. It comes the moment you look at everything God has brought you through, every fire, every betrayal, every dark night, and you say, "None of that broke me, so nothing ahead of me can either." Walking in your level means accepting that you will never fully belong to the ordinary world, and choosing to stop grieving that. It means understanding that the people who don't get you are not a reflection of your worth. They are simply not your assignment. It means trusting the timing, even when the timing makes no earthly sense, because God's calendar does not match anyone's expectations. It means showing up consistently for the vision, even when the evidence hasn't arrived yet, even when the results are invisible, even when you're building in the dark and no one is clapping. The chosen ones build in silence. They move in faith before the proof shows up. They plant in seasons that look empty.
because they know, the way only a chosen one can know, that the harvest is coming. You are not waiting for your life to begin. Your life is already in motion. God is already working. The ground beneath you is already shifting toward everything you were promised. Walk forward. Your tomb is empty now. Whatever buried you, the rejection, the silence, the years of feeling invisible, the weight of carrying something no one else could see, it could not hold you. It never could, because you were not made to stay in the ground. You were made to rise. And this is your rising season. Not someday, not when everything is perfect, not when you have more resources, more proof that you deserve to take up space. Now, right now, in the exact condition you are in, with every scar, every unanswered question, every dream that hasn't manifested yet, you are being called forward. God does not wait for you to be ready in the way the world defines ready. He calls you forward in your becoming. He uses you in your incomplete, still healing, still learning state, because that is the nature of the chosen. They are always being built and moving at the same time. You were chosen before you understood what that meant. You were equipped before you felt equipped. You were confirmed before you believed the confirmation. And today something in you is recognizing the truth for what it is. You are not ordinary. You never were. Walk out of the tomb. Walk forward into everything that has your name on it. Walk in the level they cannot understand because God built you for it. If this message reached your soul today, subscribe right now because the messages coming next were made specifically for a person like you, and you do not want to miss what's ahead. Your story is not over. It is just beginning.